Good evening. My name is James Michael Bowers, and I am the Northeast representative on the City Council. Thank you for joining us on our virtual citizens meeting. Since we're in the middle of this pandemic and this public health threat, we have moved our monthly town hall meetings to be virtually instead of in person. And I really look forward to the day when we'll be together in person again. But until then, I appreciate you tuning in. The structure of these meetings kind of follow the same pattern. I provide a little bit of an update about what the city is working on and how I'm fighting for you on the City Council. And then I invite a guest speaker to talk about something that's going on in the city of interest or to introduce new key people who will be leading certain areas of our city. Today we have Mr. Ronald Caldy, who's the new Assistant Director of Transportation. And I'll introduce him here in a little bit. But first I'd like to talk a little bit about what has been on our City Council agenda. There's a couple different topics I want to talk about. One of the most controversial things that the City Council recently approved was an ordinance that outlined requirements to operate a transitional living facility. We heard a lot of testimony about best practices, and we looked at different cities on how they were able to operate these transitional living facilities in a way that provides clear rules and clear guidelines, that protects neighborhoods, protects individuals who are using this service, and also to make sure that there is accountability and transparency put in place. Some of the requirements that were put in place with the help of the planning department and the City Council was to notify neighbors that a transitional living facility would be going into their home, the ability for the planning director to revoke a permit if it was found that these facilities are not up to city standards. Also made sure that there was appropriate density and appropriate spacing depending on what residential zone that you are in, but typically about one transitional living facility for about every 500 feet, and in some areas up to 1,000. And so what this does is this just makes it a clear guideline for people who want to provide this service, and also to make sure that we're protecting folks that are going to be utilizing this service. This is a topic that will continue to be discussed on a state level as our friends in probation and our friends in the state legislature work to address some of the concerns and to improve things on the state side of this program. So it's a balancing act between the city and the state, and I look forward to reporting back on how this moves on through the state legislature. Another topic I would like to discuss is Lincoln Electric System recently came in front of the council to propose their new budget, and I'm happy to report that there will not be any rate increases from LES in their budget proposal. Another part of good news is current Senator Kate Bowles will be joining Mayor Gaylor Baird's staff. Senator Bowles will be joining as a policy aide, working on economic and development. Especially since we're in the middle of this pandemic, it's important that we focus on a strong economy for our city and for our community. Kate Bowles has extensive history serving as vice chair of appropriations in our state legislature, and she has a really good skill set at bringing people together and helping see initiatives through. And I think that she will be great at the helm of trying to make sure that our workforce and our economy is strong, especially as we recover from this pandemic. Speaking of the pandemic, I also want to share that recently, as you probably saw, our COVID risk dial was recently turned into red. As of today, we've had 64 deaths, 372 lab-confirmed cases today, and our hospitalization rate is at 165. 66 of those individuals who are hospitalized are from Lancaster County, with 5 of them on vents. And 99% of those people that are in our hospitals are from outside the county, and 12 of them are in vents. This pandemic is something that we're still continuing to work through, and I am really thankful for the leadership of our health department and for our health director, Pat Lopez, and also for our frontline staff, our nurses and physicians and healthcare workers that are putting themselves at risk every day to make sure that people in our community, our neighbors, have access to the best possible care and correct information. If there's any questions about COVID, please don't hesitate to reach out. to me, and I'll provide my contact information here in a little bit. But one of the most important things is making sure that we have accurate information and accurate data, and making sure that you have the information needed in order to protect yourselves from this public health crisis that we're in. Nebraskans, we really carry our own weight, and we don't shrug off our responsibilities. And one of the best ways that we can pull our own weight and making sure that we take care of our neighbors is by wearing a mask and keeping your distance from other people. If we do that, we have the tools in order to get this in check. And so I please ask you, please wear a mask in order to take care of one another, pull your weight, do your civil duty, wear a mask, and keep a distance. There will be an end in sight if we continue to do those things. Lastly, I want to talk about another ordinance that I brought forward recently regarding Keno. Keno has been a partner through multiple communities in Nebraska, and Lincoln receives a certain portion of Keno funds to provide to local nonprofits for their prevention work. Currently in Lincoln, there is a regulation that outlaws individuals who work at a bar or restaurant from playing Keno where they work at. This is pretty unique to Lincoln, and it's not something that is shared through other communities. So I was talking with folks who are working in the bar and restaurant industry. They shared that they would like to be able to play Keno at their place of employment when they get off of work. So I was able to work with city law and other council members to look at what other communities are doing. I brought forward an ordinance that would remove that regulation. Employers can still make that determination for their employees, but this removes the city from forcing that regulation onto businesses. One of the benefits of this is that as individuals are able to make the decision to play Keno, they're able to do it in a place that they feel comfortable in, but also this might lead to a few extra dollars into the Keno fund to continue to fund prevention programs in our city. We have public hearing on it next week, and then the week after that, we will have a vote that it will go to. One of the concerns that I had was, are individuals able to somehow change the game up and somehow have an unfair advantage? And the simple answer to that is no. Keno is not ran by individual bars and individual restaurants. It is a game that is provided outside and is just simply televised in. And so by removing this regulation, we are moving more in line with other communities and their regulations with Keno, and at the same time, allowing folks to make decisions for themselves. And if there's any questions about that, I would be happy to answer. My email address, if you do have any questions, is jbowers, BOWERS, @lincoln.ne.gov. Again, that's jbowers @lincoln.ne.gov. That's our monthly update. At this time, I would like to invite Mr. Ronald Caldy, who is the Assistant Director of Transportation and Utilities. So in Lincoln, we have the Department of Transportation and Utilities, which is essentially half of utilities, and the other half is transportation. Mr. Caldy will be heading up the transportation portion of that, and I'm really excited to learn a little bit about his history and kind of his vision, and I'll bring him up here so he can introduce himself to Northeast Lincoln. Thank you so much, Mr. Caldy.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I want to first introduce myself. As the Commissioner said, my name is Ron Caldy, and I am new to Lincoln and the state of Nebraska. This is my third week of employment and on the job, but I want to say thank you, first and foremost, to everyone that I have met here in Lincoln since upon my arrival. Everyone has been so very, very friendly, accommodating, and welcoming to me, and I really, really appreciate that personality of the city of Lincoln. I come from the state of Florida. I am a professional engineer. I have almost 30 years of transportation, civil, and environmental engineering experience. I have a very broad background. I've held key leadership positions with the Florida Department of Transportation, with Hernando County government. Hernando County was the county that I lived in Florida. With the Southwest Florida Water Management District, an environmental and regulatory agency. And I actually got my beginning in the engineering world even before I got in education as a rodman on a survey crew. So my experience and background has spanned the spectrum of the engineering world. I have a bachelor's degree from Florida State University in civil engineering and a master's degree in engineering management from the University of South Florida. A little bit about me personally. As I mentioned earlier, I'm a native of the state of Florida. I am married. I have 3 wonderful children. They're all young adults at this point and starting and engaging in their careers and their educations. And I'm also ex-member of the Florida National Guard, Army National Guard, and the United States Navy Reserve. With my 30 years of experience, I hope to be able to bring to the benefit of the residents and the taxpayers of the city of Lincoln. I look forward to working with city staff, with the mayor, with the council, and with all the members of the public on how we can transform and make the city of Lincoln's transportation system one of the premier in the nation. You know, my personal philosophy on transportation is that it's really the backbone. It's a foundation of a community, and it leads to so much benefit and growth and quality of life for that community. In fact, I always thought a transportation system really doesn't get you where you want to go, but it gets you where you want to be. And that's not necessarily a geographical location, but it helps you become and a community to grow into what they want to be. So my philosophy on transportation is a holistic one. You may have heard the term complete streets somewhere in the past, but I look forward to enhancing all modes, all aspects of roadway, pedestrian, trails, transit, all the many factors that will promote a very effective and robust transportation system. So with that, Councilman, that's a little bit of background on me. I'm absolutely available to answer any questions anyone may have, or any questions you may have. Okay, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you so much for coming out, Mr. Caldy, and introducing yourself. Roads are something that we really value in Northeast Lincoln. It's one of the things that we're have the most concerns about. As you said, roads are can be our backbone into how a community runs, and making sure that we are treating all areas of our community and all areas of our city with the same dignity and integrity as we do with other infrastructure in our city. So I am really excited to get you on board and continue to work together on how we can continue to meet the needs of folks in Northeast Lincoln. We did not receive any questions for Mr. Caldy. I would like to remind folks that if there are questions that come up, or if there are topics that you would like to see be discussed on a Northeast Citizens meeting, please feel free to reach out, send me an email, write me a letter, or give me a call. It's different doing this virtually. It really kind of separates ourselves out a little bit, but we're going to continue to work to provide these meetings so that way we can still keep a strong link between your elected officials and our city. So our next meeting will be in December. It's the third Thursday of the month, starting at 5:30. It'll be on our Facebook page, Lincoln, Nebraska, the City of Lincoln's website, or the City of Lincoln's YouTube channel, and that's YouTube LNK TV City. And it's also available on the public access channels, Allo Channel 2, Charter and Spectrum Channel 1300, and Windstream Channel 1005. Again, if there are topics that you would like to see discussed, or if there's any questions that I can answer, please feel free to send me an email at jbowers@lincoln.ne.gov. lincoln.gov. And feel free to give me a call on my cell phone at 402-580-2612. And until then, until we can be together in person, I really appreciate you tuning in and look forward to hosting one of these again in December. Thank you so much.